Thank you very much to all of you watching at home for your patience while we've been dealing with the incident that we've been having here. Just to fill you guys in on what's happened, you guys obviously heard the incident that happened during the last match, but for safety of all of our duelists and participants here, all the spectators and the staff, we were advised to evacuate while security checks were done. The evacuation is now finished and the top 8 can now resume, but we really appreciate all of your patience throughout all of this. Just to put everyone's mind at ease, everyone is safe, everybody is okay, there's no health concerns or anything like that. Everything is all good, and we're ready to crack back on with your top 8 feature match, which actually, due to the positioning of it, is exactly where it was when we paused the stream, so things will be continuing. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand you guys over to the amazing commentators who will take you back into this top 8 feature match so we can carry on towards that European title.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It feels so jarring having an empty hall here, but, you know, due to the safety concerns, of course, everyone was evacuated appropriately, as explained by Ed. So everyone is safe and sound. That's what matters here. Back to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, we have in the middle of a game state here again, just to give you a bit of an update as to what's actually happened. So we are currently in the middle of game 1 of this top 8. We've got Ritual Beast versus Snake Eye, and essentially what we had was an illegal activation of Poplar. There was no target in the deck, so that has been upgraded, but not resulted in a game loss. So that's just a penalty that's been given there.
Exactly. There is also 3 minutes of time added to the duel, and I think that our duelists already, they are waiting. They want to play. They want to find out who can advance to top 4 and make their way to the World Championships in Seattle. So let's go right over to the table.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is the game state that we left you in, which feels like an eon ago now. Let's try refresh our memory as to where we are right now. So this is turn 2 of the duel here. Julio has gone second with Ritual Beast, trying to pick apart the field of Mauro, who has... he didn't end on exactly the greatest field, did he?
Yeah, we're in main phase 2, I think. So, Nadir, can you tell us, as the Ritual Beast expert, which Ritual Beast monsters have been summoned this turn? And special summoned again.
Well, I think it's Elder, Winda, Lara, yeah, something like that. All right, we'll keep going from here. But it looks like we're using non-extra deck, non-Ritual Beast rather, as part of our extra deck here to continue with this game state here. What happened with the Protoss? Gosh, it feels like I think I forgot what happened with that. What did we call yet? Or
I have a feeling it's not yet resolved, because I think Mauro, we were talking about it before, Mauro's still got a few hand traps in his hand, and maybe that SP is just a precursor to activating the Protoss there, because that would allow the Protoss to dodge a potential hand trap. So maybe Mauro's got to see that and maybe just use the Effect Veiler now if he's got it.
It's a really powerful position as well for Julio, because if we do manage to get this Protoss off declaring fire, which the attributes are actually available for us here, then it is going to lock Mauro out of summoning fires until the end of this turn and the next.
I think that just happened.
And there it is, yeah, there's the Protoss activation and resolution. Fire monsters have been destroyed, and they will not be able to be special summoned for until the end of the next turn here. As you can see, I think we're resolving the Poplar here to scale. We're going to put the Diabell Star there, and yeah, that isn't unfortunately going to be able to help Mauro on the next turn here. So if Julio can survive here, I'm not too sure what we can really do in this situation.
I'm a little confused. Did he not have an Effect Veiler?
I mean, there is the SP Little Knight on the field. What's the point of really dropping it there?
Can't you just play Effect Veiler like before he activates the Protoss?
Yeah, just to force out the SP Little Knight. Probably doesn't have a Veiler. I mean, there's absolutely no reason you wouldn't do it, right? So perhaps you've mistaken the card, Tom.
I think, yeah, maybe at some point you would have done it on summon, or maybe before the SP Little Knight was being played. So Julio is... Okay, we're going to see some Fiendsmith action here, and I mean, there is the SP Little Knight on the side of Julio. That is basically the only interruption he has set up. I was kind of thinking that he was going to go for a lot more Ritual Beast combo to end up on Steeds.
Yeah, don't forget, of course, the incident occurred in the middle of his turn, so maybe he's, you know, incorrectly done some plays here, but I think this should be probably good enough, right? Like, we can only special summon lights and darks. Maybe if we have enough extension here, we can use the extra deck here. But it looks like the SP Little Knight is activating in response to the Requiem to equip, then banishing the Engraver until the end phase, and so the Requiem will not attach here, and Mauro's looking like he might be potentially out of options.
Yeah, I don't know what he can do about this Protoss. It's going to be a big problem.
Can he try to not get OTK'd in the next turn? Because there is going to be the Engraver on the field. Because you can't call fire ananymore, right? There is no fire on the field.
The thing is, worst case scenario, even if Julio somehow doesn't take about 67 damage in the space of the Protoss for fire, I mean, you will be able to just bring back an Apelio at some point, and Apelio is a fire monster. So.
Oh, right, perfect.
But actually, is he a fire monster? It might be wind.
It is fire, but you can just tag out the like the ulti Nacho right now, and like this is surely gonna be more than enough.
You're actually wrong, by the way. All of the ritual beasts are in fact wind. It's the typings that are all different. So the attributes, yeah, they are all wind. So that is actually not going to be an option. But I mean, you know, there's no way you can't end the game out here.
He's covered in fire.
if this field doesn't end the game, then Ritual Beast doesn't deserve to go to the World Championship.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was maybe a little bit... I went too far there.
All right, so yeah, we just have to... oh, what are we making here? Link 4? We've already used the access code. We already made that, remember?
Yep,
maybe an Appaloosa potentially.
Outed a little bit of the field, also prevented a Promethean Princess, which was a fun interaction, to be honest. Got some materials into the grave. What are we going to do now? Because there's also a Nightmare Unicorn in the extra deck, which looks quite nice in this situation. Aha, there we go. It's going to be summoned.
This has to be one of the few deck lists in the game that is still... Okay, right. So you can see here, you know, just based off of the hand motions, you know, Julio did kind of commit to 4 materials worth of Link summoning there, so not going to be able to go for Unicorn. Goes instead for the Appaloosa for 3 materials.
Calling the light with Protoss, it looked like.
Yeah, calling light and just destroying the Engraver to get it out of the way here. Put it into attack mode along with Appaloosa, and whatever normal summon plus combo we have here should close this one out. Looks like we are just going to tag out the Nochi Drago instead. That's basically going to reset where we are here. The Ash Blossom? Can you not? Oh!
There was a Veiler. I mean, maybe he drew it for turn, but like...
Okay, I guess you were insane things.
I thought he had a Veiler.
Okay, so Nochi Drago attempt to tag out. Isn't that... Don't the Ritual Beasts tag out for cost?
If he called Protoss for light, can he summon Nochi Drago?
Is it a light?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That definitely looked like a Protoss for light there, so...
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely makes sense what you're saying.
What does
Protoss affects both players.
Does Protoss say that you can't...
Neither player can special summon until the end of next turn.
Okay, but what light were we special summoning?
Nochi Drago.
But Nochi Drago was already on the field.
No, it was tagged out at the end of last turn. If you recall. So
okay, alright.
Yeah, he used it to special summon the Link monster, which then turned into 2 more monsters.
Just going to update the judges here and have a little bit of a discussion on this just to make sure that everything is in check here. We'll deal with that momentarily.
One of the few monsters in Julio's deck which are actually not wind but light, the Nochi Drago. Actually, also, I think the Tema Lara was a light monster as well, but this one was just in the graveyard, and now Julio is actually...
This is going to be quite a long way to go back if that's what we're going to do. I'm not sure if that is what's going on. It looks like he's just carrying on with his turn here, so maybe the players haven't been notified, or maybe we've missed something.
No, I think a judge is asking one of the players something. We have seen the pen pointing.
The all-powerful pen.
I mean, maybe the Engraver was also sent away by something else, and Julio hasn't called light with the Arch Nemesis Protoss. I mean, we can't tell, you know?
We can't tell for sure.
Talk.
It looked very much like he was pointing to the Protoss, and it looks like he's attacking. So maybe he didn't. Maybe it was something else that sent it. But it looked to me like he pointed to the Protoss, but maybe I'm just remembering it incorrectly, and there was some other reason why the Engraver went to the graveyard.
Right, but now this looks like we have entered the battle phase. And is this even enough to deal 6,700 points worth of damage?
No, I mean, the Appaloosa got effect veilered, so...
Oh, right.
It's not very much damage at all.
I mean, you can negate that, right? So you're at 1/6.
Well, there was an Ash and then effect veiler, right? So it's got no attack.
All right.
I'm a little confused. Like, what happened with his turn?
Yep, I'm also a little bit confused there.
A lot of things went wrong in this match here, I'm not going to lie, as the turn 1 of Mauro was definitely suboptimal as well, opening Ash Witch. And not having really much of a field either, despite the fact that we ended on a princess on field. Something definitely was not correct about that. And here as well, according to the judges here, it has been repaired, so anything that did go wrong has been fixed. So may have potentially misunderstood how the protest was resolving, I suppose.
Well, maybe the game state was just returned to a previous position, but I feel like in that case the Ashe and Vela should still be back in Mauro's hand or something.
I mean, whatever is going to happen now, we have no control over anymore. I think that the situation is is resolved or has been resolved, and yeah, the Poplar in the Graveyard is going to activate. I mean, normal summon Snake Eye Ashe, there is actually a very huge, I think that is a card that Mauro has set or searched for in the last turn. Flamberge is being put into the spell and trap zone, and of course there is still Snake Eye Ashe on the field, which can activate to send away the Flamberge Dragon.
And here takes the Anima that has been effect veiled, and the set is still a wanted original.
That's a lot. That is a whole lot that Mauro has going for him here. And he can only, of course, he's locked out of the Fiendsmith engine, and usually that is a huge part of the combo. However, we have seen this deck win events without the Fiendsmith engine, right?
I have a feeling he'll be okay, you know. I don't really see any way that he doesn't end up taking the game this turn. We've mentioned it before, but Julio's deck list very light on hand traps. So what you see is very much what you get.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot, no. I mean, if you even wanted to be fancy, you know, you could use the Flamberge and scale the Protoss and then lock your opponent out, see how he likes it. No, that's probably completely unnecessary.
Oh, wind, yeah. All right, well, it looks like Mauro has somehow managed to survive a Protoss for fire, living a turn using the Fiendsmith portion of his deck. A couple of hand traps come down and stop Julio from dealing enough damage to take him down, only from 46, I think it was, down to 28. And yeah, we are just going to play through with a Hita here. And I suppose we're just using this as a way to link off, because I don't believe there's going to be any relevant fire monsters in the grave.
I mean, there is the... oh, no, it's not fire, as we discussed.
I was going to say, I think if there was a fire monster in Julio's grave, he would have found a way to actually get this on the field and destroy it with Protoss.
What link monsters has he got left at this point? I mean, he's got enough to out the Protoss with the Dival Star that's in play.
Yeah, so now we just need to, like, make bigger monsters.
That shouldn't work. I think it needs different monsters.
Nightmare Phoenix?
Yeah, all of them
definitely needs
Nightmare. Two different monsters.
Yeah,
so
double Ashe does not work there.
I guess you just send away the Oak
instead. Yeah, they saw it immediately. All right.
Okay.
Not the end of the world. Is it enough attack on the field? I don't think so.
We're going to find out relatively soon. Protoss is being sent to the graveyard by Snake Eyes Diabellstar. How much attack is the Canna Hawk at?
It's only 1,400.
1,400, that's not too much. There is no temple on the field, as Mauro had to send it away in his first turn to actually also access IP and Flamberge Dragon. So this is 1,900 more damage, and now 800 from the Snake Eye Ashe. Guys, what is happening in this match? Both of these duelists are actually never getting OTK'd at all. And also, because of the lacking Fiendsmith engine here, because it's locked out of light, you can't even go for Lacrima Burn.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. I've never seen a game like this where, like, both players having their chance to go off uninterrupted. Normally, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks nowadays are these massive heavyweights. You know, you take one swing at your opponent and end the game immediately. But this time we've had a sort of scrappy back and forth. What is going on here?
I mean, Julio has all of the reasons. Oh, evenly matched at the end of the battle phase is being dropped.
Is that his last card in hand? So he's got no cards. Has he got any...
does he have a Lara?
Nochi Dracos left?
He should have, because he keeps tagging them out, I think.
I don't know what's happening to them. They don't go to the graveyard or
I'm a little bit
like
lost.
That,
I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is a strange situation altogether in general, as well as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself is confusing me. We got an evenly matched in the end of the battle phase, keeping the Diabellstar on the field. Somehow surviving with 550 life points, by the way. And now we have, I think, one card in hand. Julio also going to top deck into 2 cards in hand, but the thing is we do have a full graveyard, so we can just summon out a Nochi Drago and just do some combos.
Looks like 1 card in hand for Julio, actually. Does he have a Tamer, a Spiritual Beast to Tamer Lara in the graveyard that he can banish for the ulti Nochi Drago? Canahawk is being put away. I don't see the Lara. Lara might be in the banishment.
It should be fine. We do have access to every name, essentially.
It's a quick effect to tag out the Nochi Draco, is it?
Yeah.
Because we've still got that princess to worry about.
All right, yeah, that's a thing.
Too excited, but I think...
Yeah, there it is. We're going to bring back the Canahawk as well as a...
Do you only get 1 for Nochi Draco, I think?
Oh, is Nochi Draco just 1?
I think that would be fair, considering you can summon it for free.
Yeah, of course. That's very relevant.
And it can't attack directly.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's...
It shouldn't be too much of a problem here, because now we have access to Canahawk, and Canahawk can... Oh, we still have the princess, of course. Yeah. So yeah, Canahawk is going to be destroyed here, which means we cannot banish Lara from the deck. And scoops it up. There it is, the end of game number 1 after a grueling 30-minute, an intermission of an hour. It's been crazy and hectic here. Our players are just in a whirlwind of emotions at this point.
And I think this is what it comes down to in the end. This is mind games, basically. Your mental has to be on point now. There was a little bit of a disruption, I'm going to say it. But these duelists, they have to calm down now. They have to be on top of their game afterwards. After all, this is the game that is supposed to get you to the World Championship. This is what every duelist in the world wants. This is it. This is the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the strangest game 1 as well, not only in terms of the intermission, but also in terms of the game itself. Like, it looked like, so I don't know if something was going wrong for either player or, I mean, whatever at this point. But I suppose both players have now taken the time to compose themselves.
This is exactly what this match needs. It needs a complete reset, go into game number 2, and then play from there. But the thing I'm worried about is this clock is dwindling away. I mean, you know, only a game 1 played in the space of about 30 minutes. That's... This is a bit of an issue, I think, specifically for Julio, because he is down a game here, and if there's any deck that has any kind of win condition in time, we know it's going to be that Lacrima putting Mauro ahead.
I think Julio, and maybe a possible game 3, needs a little bit of help from the best Ritual Beast card there is, Dimension Shifter.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood.
Oh, that's also a phenomenal Ritual Beast card.
Yeah, I think Shifter is going to be an absolute... MVP potentially if we can draw it, because Julio is definitely going to want to go first. Issue with Ritual Beast sometimes is that the combos do take a while, and as you can see in this clock, you know, you'd be surprised how long it can take to do your full combo, especially in a deck like Ritual Beast. So he's going to be on the back foot here again, as you mentioned. Keep us cool, calm down and relax, and just try and take this as a brand new and fresh start and try and get on top of this one.
Okay, another pile shuffle coming in. Can't shuffle enough. We want to randomize those cards. And now I think, is there a card sided from the extra deck on the side of Julio?
Most likely, yeah. I can see a Gaga Cowboy being brought in here. So I don't know if that's really going to matter. I mean, 800 versus 1200. I think I know mathematically which one is bigger.
Actually.
Actually, it's something to consider. But there's also some other relevant time cards that players have been side decking. Most notably, of course, Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood is really important. It's definitely a defining factor that we've seen in a lot of Game 3s, especially with how long some of the duels can take now. So we'll see if that one is going to be a relevant piece of interaction. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if 1200 is bigger than 800 if yours resolves and theirs doesn't, right? He needs to do the damage, because if the game is tied on life points when time is called, then that would be sort of whatever you say, 1.5 to a half, and that would be a win.
I think we can see both duelists being ready. Both of them, they gave each other the fist bump. Let's go right onto the table. Game 2.
All right, here we are back at it again with game number 2. Both players having a soft reset as we approach this second game with 12 minutes left on the clock. Mauro is currently up 1-0, and Julio is, of course, deciding to start here. We've got a Lara in the hand, allowing you to immediately perform a normal summon. That's going to be Canahawk. Canahawk can then banish Lara, the 1-card combo of Ritual Beast. This means, of course, that we still have our regular normal summon as well, if we want to go for that. And almost banishing the wrong Lara there. Sometimes you can mix those up, but yeah, the upgraded version from not Infinite Forbidden, Terminal Revenge, Battles of Legend, is going to special summon the Lara from the deck. And now we can go into an ulti Canahawk.
All the Laras.
Yeah, that one's the regular Lara, and the other one is the Spiritual Beast Tamer Lara. And yeah, ulti Canahawk, it's been a while since we've seen that one the last time. I mean, apart from the last game in this tournament in general.
I was in the last
and the feature before
times,
that.
Yeah.
All right, well, here is the return into the tag out, bringing back the new Lara, returning Spiritual Beast Lara, and now Canahawk gets a new banish here. This is most likely going to be for a Winda, or I think we want to bring Winda out the deck with a Nochi Drago Contact Fusion, most likely.
I have a question for you, which I can direct to Nadir as our sitting Ritual Beast expert. How does the deck play around Nibiru?
Well, do consider that we haven't used our normal summon yet. We have used the Lara normal summon, so I think you just play as far as you can here, and then if you get stopped, you can maybe search out a Wen, just to give you a backup if you are Nibiru at that point. So we'll see. I'm not sure if a one-card combo will do it. It's definitely going to require an extender or two. So.
But what if the Nibiru comes when the entire field is there? Like when you're going for Protoss, and then the Nibiru drops? Or
well, I mean, that would be a good position to save it for. Yeah, you're right. This deck does not put up any kind of disruptions before you get to your full Ritual Beast combo. You really need like an exquisite hand for that, something like Elder Canahawk, and then maybe you can preempt an Appaloosa potentially. But yeah, it's definitely a lower ceiling than Snake Eye, which is a deck that can insulate itself from so many different interactions that your opponent can have.
But I mean, Julio presumably has had to face Nibiru many times before during the course of this event, so I guess we'll see what his plan is when it happens. If it happens.
Going to send a Psychic to the graveyard here with the effect of Rampengu after banishing Ulti Gaia Pelio. That's going to be a Contact Fusion again for Ulti Canahawk for one more search. Returning the Gaia Pelio most likely here. And we're going to return both Laras to get a search. This means that we get to keep the body of the Ulti Canahawk.
So how much do you think the deck kind of runs out of resources? Because I guess the resource issues, or banished cards seem to be excellent, that's where you want them, and then stuff in the grave, I guess, is almost a little bit used, if you like. Rather than,
so
I guess a lot of decks function the other way around, whereas like a grave you can use and banished stuff is...
That looked like a pass from Julio just after setting up Steeds. This is just like in the old times where you just end on Steeds and basically nothing else. That is 2 pops, and I don't know whether that will be enough to stop Mauro.
This could be potentially a way to try and... Oh, okay, never mind.
Wow.
This was just into the opponent's turn. I'm not actually sure. Yeah, it feels like just a Canahawk. I mean, I feel like it should end on a little bit more here, but no, it looks like we are going to lose our Ritual Beast Steed, our only form of disruption here, unless we have something from the hand, which I don't really know what we can have. Julio does play almost no hand traps in his list, and that's a Bonfire.
I mean, it was Lara into Canahawk as well, so he had an extra normal summon.
Yeah.
I don't know what
wasn't his Rampengu the normal summon?
No, Canahawk.
His normal summon.
His extra normal summon was the Rampengu. Could he maybe have searched something else with Canahawk rather than Steeds and done more things, made another Canahawk?
Well, potentially. So that's something that we'll have to think about in the future as the Snake Eye Ash is resolving on the normal summon here to add Snake Eye Poplar. Just going to summon itself from the hand, and it should hopefully, if you're Mauro, going to be quite formulaic to try and get through this very underwhelming field here. That is huge though. That makes a big difference.
Yep, the Dogwood is going
and
to resolve.
Spooky Dogwood going to be a major part of this game. Is Mauro going to keep playing? Do we keep comboing? Just make our huge setup and then try and whittle the life points down turn after turn?
Yeah, that is the crazy part, because not many duelists have been in this situation where they got dogwooded in this kind of situation. And to be honest, you have very few minutes to figure out how to play around this or to solve the situation the best, because you're going to give your opponent a lot of life points if you keep on playing.
Yeah, I mean, in a normal game, I feel like you just almost instantly just say, I'm just going to keep playing, I'm going to play my full combo, and then if my opponent can't play any cards, it'll take me like 2 or 3 turns, I'll just attack them in a few battle phases. But you can't necessarily do that with only 7 minutes on the clock.
Do you think maybe he can afford that risk when he's up a game?
Maybe. I don't know, like it's
potentially,
you've
right?
got to do some math that involves how long the game takes, which is a little bit too complicated for me, so Mauro will have to think about it himself.
Yeah, big decision to be made here. It looks like we are going to activate Fiendsmith Engraver, go for the tract. How much do we want to push into a Spooky Dogwood?
I think he can afford the 200 attack points from Lurie.
200 is probably not going to be the deciding factor here, but that clock is ticking. Less than 7 minutes remaining, and of course, don't forget that when it goes back to Julio's turn, if he's ahead on life points, Ritual Beast can combo for a long time, so that is something to think about. So just to clarify the time procedures here, should Julio win this game in time, we're going to go to a game 3 unsided with a dice roll, correct?
I think that's how it works, but I mean, maybe Mauro, if he sees the writing on the wall for this game, might choose to not let that happen and then take the chance to go first in a potential game 3.
And then there is 6 cards that Mauro does not want to face. One of them would be Dimension Shifter, and the other one would be another Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood.
That is completely fair. I don't know what you're supposed to do against either of those cards to inflict damage to your opponent.
Engraver is summoned here. That's going to be 11,300 life points. Activating the effect of the Requiem to Send, chaining the Canahawk, tagging into Canahawk and Lara.
Snake Eye Ash is now going to activate, and we might see an Oak here for an extra 800. Ash Blossom is going to be activated, so we don't even want to give our opponent any more resources there, even though it would be a huge amount of life points if this was going to be a Flamberge.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's going to have enough life points at this point. So maybe it's just denying resources from his opponent. I'm not really sure how you handle this as Mauro. It's such a unique situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's not really a game state you will be prepared for. It's not like people do test games and practices under Dogwood in time, right? Is that like a thing people practice? Maybe, I don't know. I guess
might be a thing, actually.
Yeah, if you've got this far into the European Championship, who knows? It could be that way.
It's one of those things that's just so hard to replicate, though. I mean, most situations you can just replicate testing with your friends and practicing, but this is like, yeah, I mean, how do you play with only 5 minutes, and you have to figure out how your opponent's going to play, how much time they're going to take to do things, as well as how much time you need to do all of your combos as well.
Just to clarify for everyone at home wondering what would happen as we approach that all-important 0 on the clock here. So the current duel obviously cannot end on a draw because it is the top cut. So what we will do is check at the end of phase what the life points are. If they're still equal, then it checks at the end of turn. If the current duel is over and the match is tied, however, a game 3 in a special unique rule set will be played where the high roll will be performed and the first and second decision is made with no side decking, and then from there life points are checked starting by the end of turn 4 and then thereafter the end of each turn again, should that not be a deciding factor. So that's the procedure, that's what's going to happen if Mauro does not win this game. And he does actually pick up his cards and scoop it up here with 3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. So that is enough time to perform your side decking and then go first in game 3. And, well, Julio is gonna need a Dimension Shifter, right?
Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood would work as well, probably, right? Because this card just won him the entire game. It looked abysmal for him. He had no field except for the steeds. Then a fantastic Cosmic Cyclone came in to basically break the entire field that he put up. But the Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, I thought Julio was out of this one, but just gaining so much life points that your opponent basically has no chance of taking your life points out is really, really strong in these kind of situations.
Yeah, I mean, Spooky Dogwood seems like one of the ultimate trump cards when it comes down to timeout. So is there any chance for Mauro? Does he have those cross-out designators maybe in a Spooky Dogwood of his own? Or is he just going to have to rub his hands together and hope that nothing is going to happen. He's
so
got that.
Interestingly enough, he is playing Crossout Designator, but does not play Dogwood. Actually, one of my friends was playing Crossout, and only one Dogwood in the side specifically for this situation, because Snake Eye mirrors especially can take so long. Any kind of combo mirror can potentially take a while here. 3 skill drain in the side for going first potentially could be viable, although that's a 1,000 life point cost. We'll see, however, because I don't know if we're gonna have a turn 2. Potentially, right? That could be, well, I mean, it's anyone's game here. We might be forced to pass very quick under Shifter. We'll have to find out as our duelists are siding up here for that game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, no Dogwood or Shifter for that Crossout Designator, so just that lone call by the grave.
That's all you need. Only one.
I really like that one-off Spooky Dogwood, because even if you draw it and your opponent Dogwoods, you can just pass the turn and Dogwood them, and then you have a solid chance of actually having them summon a bigger monster than you have.
Yeah, for sure. All right, our duelists are shuffling up, and it looks like we're just about ready for this game number 3 here. 60 seconds remaining on the clock. Siding is basically complete. Let's head out over to the table and figure out what will be the conclusion for this Game 3 Top 8 World Championship spot match.
We are shuffling this up. I think at this point time doesn't matter anymore anyways. We're going to play and check at the end of every turn if we're taking 1 more minute to shuffle up or not. It is not making a big difference, I would suppose.
Yeah, as long as Mauro can declare his main phase,
yeah.
We're all good. I don't think Julio can stop him by doing too much in his standby phase. You know, maybe a Dimension Shifter or Molchami Parelia or all these things. He could activate 3 cards in the standby phase if he draws them in the right order.
Well, we're not going to get the special Game 3 rules here because time has now hit 15 seconds, and we did not have a time situation during the during the side decking here. So Dimension Shifter and well, with 5 seconds remaining.
That is absolutely massive. Does Mauro have an answer to any of this? Or is he going to just pass? Lacrima Burn is not an option anymore. This looks like it's Julio's game in his hands right there. But does Mauro have an option?
Yeah, what can you do under the Dimension Shifter just to do anything? Like, you cannot summon the Black Witch, you cannot use any Snake Eye effects to send to the graveyard, you cannot use any Fiendsmith cards.
You set a monster? Does Parelia draw a card when you set a monster? Because he needs to rely on defending the life points and then Julio not comboing off, you know?
I'm fairly certain that's not how that works, but what I can tell you is that if Mauro can do any kind of burn damage here, that would of course be the end of the game. Doing that on the Dimension Shifter is going to be nigh impossible, so he would have to pass. And since, you know, the end of phase and end of turn would be checked here, we can see this is the first step. Check life at the end of the turn. They're equal, so another turn is going to be played here. So now Julio just has to do any amount of damage here, and he should be victorious. I don't think there's going to be 4 turns, as the special rules would say, but yeah.
I thought that was an offered handshake, but he just wants to read the Rampengu. My heart stopped for a second there. The Inheritance, of course, is one of the newer cards that have been recently released for the Ritual Beast archetype.
Yeah, no, it's essentially a searcher for the deck here. You just reveal a monster in your hand, this being the Rampengu, and then you can add one from your... Oh, actually, no, is this a reveal or the normal summon?
I think that was the reveal.
Skipped a step there. All right, so yeah, revealing the Rampengu, then you can add an Elder, and let me tell you, Elder plus Rampengu, that is absolutely going to be full combo here from Ritual Beast. So we do know that Julio is side decking Gagaga Cowboy, or we can just very simply go to the battle phase.
I mean, Mauro just checking, because it did look like Julio put the Rampengu on the field, whether he sort of still gets to add the card.
No, it's definitely not considered as normal summon, right? Because he was in the middle of resolving the Inheritance, and he put the Rampengu on the field just as a brain fart moment, I suppose, because you still have to, like, resolve your Inheritance here, and that's what the judges are talking about just now.
So I think that for a second we should come back to us so we can analyze this game state a little bit more in case there is some more discussion on the player and judge side. And what kind of situation is this? This is absolute madness. We had a half-an-hour break in between those games. We had a completely messed up game one from both players. They just didn't put out the fields that their decks were supposed to put out. And then the mid-game even as well. Both duelists had the chance to OTK with full setup basically. Couldn't pull through there, and Ash Blossom plus Effect Veiler combo just took the attack points off of the Appaloosa, and that managed to stop the OTK. And I think that we're going to continue playing this one, so let's go back to the table quickly.
Wow, okay. So it's being ruled that the inheritance...
So he did activate the effect, but it just got Ash Blossom.
Right, okay, so we're ashing the inheritance, and now we're going to normal summon Rampengu instead. And this is one of the few situations where Rampengu ends up being really, really strong because we can banish from our extra deck here for the Ulti-Gaia Pelio, and then Rampengu sends one from the deck to the grave of the same type. But because we're under Dimension Shifter, we actually banish the Lara, which then special summons the other Lara, and now we can contact Fusion and try and do some combos here. Remember, life points at this stage are being checked at the end of each turn. So or at the end of each phase, and if the phase has not changed, then we go to the end of the turn. So basically, Julio does get a whole turn here. We just need to attack for any amount of damage. A hand trap has been used on Mauro's side as he leans forward, probably indicating maybe there's nothing left. It could be in the Nibiru still.
Deeds, and there is going to be 2 more banished monsters. This is 2 monsters on the field. The Nochi Drago is there in attack position.
Drago attacks with the Nochi Drago under 5 summons, attacks directly with Ulti Canahawk, and that is the end of the game!
Julio Valls advances to the World Championships in Seattle. The previous Spanish national champion aims to be a world champion as well after this absolute insanity of a match.
What a chaotic match in every respect to the he's currently on stage here brandishing the flag of Spain. Huge support coming from all of his friends and teammates. That is really wholesome to see here. So yeah, what an incredible game for multiple different reasons. Breathtaking, honestly. The World Championship is there in his sights, and you know, anything past this I guess is a bonus.
I mean, yeah, massive congratulations to him for taking such a unique and you know, unconventional deck choice, and then doing all this, getting all the way to the semi-finals and securing that World Championship spot.
I'm gonna say it backstage, Nadir. We had a little conversation where I said, hey, I think Ritual Beast might go to Worlds. Were you a doubter or were you a believer?
Listen, my prediction for the whole event, remember, if you recall, was Ritual Beast. So
all right, fair enough then.
I'm a very firm believer in the Church of Lara. Let me tell you, I am very, very excited to see how this one unfolds. But I mean, the big story here, of course, is without a doubt that the top 8 game is that Worlds spot playoff, and there it is. Victory has been made, and I don't think you can really be upset about anything else that happens from here on out. But of course, there is still a trophy to win, the first place of the European Championship, right?
Yeah, I mean, so difficult now to keep your like composure and concentration after like a half-an-hour break, followed by, you know, whatever it feels like to be going to the World Championships. Now you've got to keep your head screwed on straight and see if you can take home that title of the World Championships. But before he does that, he's going to have to tell us about how he feels with Ed.
Not quite yet, however, we're still getting prepared for that interview in just a moment. But yeah, no, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. We are here on our journey to Worlds. It's an exciting time, and the Ritual Beasts have done it of all decks.
I mean, Euros is truly the most emotional tournament of all of them. During the game, we have heard people screaming, which I assume just means that other people have also won their games and they have qualified for the World Championships. I mean, I'm just repeating myself, but this is every Yu-Gi-Oh! Player's dream. Your name is immortalized if you qualify. You're representing your country, you're representing your community, and now I want to know how Julio Valls feels about this. Let's go over to Ed.
And here I am with the first feature match world qualifier right here. We got Julio Valls, who's just made his way into the top 4 and is now heading to Seattle as well. Julio, how does it feel? You're going to Worlds.
I don't know. I don't believe that with the deck that I was playing 9 years ago. I got the place because the format is too difficult with Defense Missile Engine, and I trust in my deck, and that is all.
And you're brandishing the amazing flag of Spain. We didn't get to show it on the stream, but yeah, this great moment where he pulled it out, showed it to the crowd. Everyone cheered. I wish we were able to show that on camera. We've got more applause happening here. People are so happy for you, Julio. Everyone's loving it. This is so exciting. But I must say, you've made it to the Worlds.
Yeah.
You do still have a couple more games left, a top 4 match and the final. Do you think you can also take the European Championship as well?
Of course, yes. All is possible right now.
All is possible right now. I mean, Julio, congratulations. I'm going to give you some time to decompress, because obviously that was a very turbulent game as well, because we had the big pause in the middle, and thank you for your patience with that. But despite that, congratulations. You're going to Seattle. Julio, you really deserve this. It's really amazing. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with our top 4 feature matches as soon as